This is Retro Sports Radio. Visit RetroSeasons.com for more sports history.
The Cincinnati Reds faced the Los Angeles Dodgers at Dodger Stadium for a Friday night game on June 11th, 1982. The Reds entered this game in the cellar of the NL West, something they hadn't experienced in over a decade, having won the division in 6 of the past 10 years and finished in second place in 3 others. They were managed by John McNamara, who had taken over the team in 1979 after the firing of Sparky Anderson. Los Angeles was the defending world champions and were managed by Tommy Lasorda in his 6th year as skipper. But they were off to a slow start in 1982 with a 27-31 record coming into this game. This audio recording is from the Los Angeles radio broadcast featuring announcers Vince Scully and Ross Porter.
We're in San Diego. All right, time to play ball. The Dodgers and the Reds from Dodger Stadium. And now for the play-by-play, here's Vince Scully. Vinny?
Thank you, Ross. Hi, everybody, and a very pleasant good evening to you. The Cincinnati Reds and a somewhat shaken Los Angeles Dodger team about ready to go after one another with Eddie Milner to start it off, then Ron Oster and Davey Concepcion. A last-minute change due to the injury suffered by Cesar Cedeno. So Jerry Royce, standing on the hill, looks down and prepares to make his first pitch of the night. And the left-hander kicks, delivers, and it's in there at the knees for a strike. 0-1. Despite the fact the Dodgers are struggling so much, it's amazing how little it would take to turn them around. The strike one pitch on the way is low and inside, 1-1. In other words, if Hooten is healthy and can pitch as well as he pitched the other night, and if Royce comes back to form, and there's no reason to think he won't, they can improve dramatically. The 1-1 pitch is lined to left center field, and that's going to go into the gap and all the way to the wall. And Milner is into second base standing with a double. So a rather ominous start as far as Royce is concerned, as Milner comes off the bench and greets him with a double. Milner was hitting .257, and now Ron Oster coming up, the switch hitter. The Dodgers, having lost 4 straight and their home record, and of course you figure you're going to have some problems on the road. The Dodgers are 6 games under 500 on the road. But the big shock is they're not doing well at home either. They're only 2 games over 500 here at Dodger Stadium. So put it all together, and they're struggling. The Dodgers start tonight 8 games behind Atlanta. Here is Ron Oster. Oster batting right-handed. And Royce out of a stretch, a look at second, comes to the plate, a bunt. Out to get it is Socia, picks it up, fires to Garvey in time as Say comes all the way down the line to cover home plate. So Oster sacrifices, Milner going to third, and the batter will be Davey Concepcion with a 12-game hitting streak. In fact, Concepcion, during the streak, is hitting .360. So with 1 out, Concepcion coming out, hitting .306 for the year with 25 runs batted in. Davey has 3 scoring fly balls, and the Reds would settle for that right now. The Dodger infield plays back, and Royce going after Concepcion. Jerry Ruddy delivers a high chopper over the mound. The run will score, barehanded by Russell, who throws to Garvey for the out. Good play by Phil, but in comes Milner, and just like that, the Reds have the drop on the Dodgers, 1-0. So Concepcion picks up a run batted in. Milner carries it over, and the batter will be Dan Dreesen. One of many things the Dodgers are not doing is coming from behind. That has been just one of many bleak moments for them. And the Dodgers at home this year have not been able to pull one out in the 8th or 9th inning. And here now they've given up a run in the first inning, and with 2 down, Dan Dreesen up, and he takes a curveball in the dirt, ball 1, 1-0. Dan Dreesen, who has picked up over 1,000 hits in his career, batting .318, having a big year with the bat. He punches one on the ground to Say. Ron gloves it, straightens up and gets him, and the run is home because of the double. And at the end of half an inning, Reds 1, Dodgers coming up.
We'll get to baseball rundowns in a few moments. Let's talk more about this Holmes-Cooney fight coming up. We had that preview a while ago from Las Vegas. Larry Holmes, WBC heavyweight champ, says the fight is special.
One thing, this is a different type fight than it was when you won the title. This is a fight that my kids have to live with for the rest of their lives. My brothers, my family. why this fight is so important to me. I'm fighting this fight for my family, for my people, for everybody who stands for what's right.
And Holmes was asked, what's your fight strategy?
No strategy. I'm a boxer. Side to side. Left jab, left jab. 70, 80 punches around. Count them. You can't take it. Not that many. 70, 80 punches around. Just take 70. Keep them taking a little away from me. 70 punches around. 50 of them land. How long can you take that? St. Louis.
The Reds and Dodgers close out the current homestand with games tomorrow night and Sunday afternoon. Tomorrow night it'll be Bob Welch pitching for the Dodgers and Greg Harris for the Reds. And Sunday afternoon, Bert Hooton will go against Cincinnati's Bruce Perini. General admission seats on a guaranteed seat basis available for both games at the Dodgers Advance Ticket Office, 1750 Stadium Way, and at all Ticketron and Mutual outlets. Come out and be with us. The Dodgers and Reds tomorrow night and Sunday afternoon.
Bottom of the first inning, the Reds have a run. Will set them defensively with Frank Pastore on the mound and Alex Trevino behind the plate. And an infield of Dan Greason, Ron Oster, Davey Concepcion, and Johnny Bench. In the outfield, Mike Vail is in left. The center fielder is Eddie Milner. And the right fielder is Paul Householder. And Steve Sachs will start it off. Frank Pastore, who would just as soon forget last year, he was 4-9 after winning 13 the year before. The second half of last year, he won only one game in 11 starts, so he just as soon wipe it out. The pitch to Steve Sachs is low ball 1-0. John Lowe, the fine writer for the Valley News, who is our guest on the pregame show tonight, points up an interesting thing about Sachs. The youngster with 70 hits this year. He takes outside, hitting .299. He could be a rookie to get 200 hits, and that's only happened a couple of times. The last time, Richie Allen. Here's the 2-0 pitch on the way, and Sachs takes inside. Ball 3. 3-0. So Frank Pastore leading 1-0. He's from Alhambra and lives in Upland. 6'3", 205-pounder. Frank into the windup. Now the 3-0 pitch on the way. High. Ball 4. So Sachs opens up with a walk. And, of course, Steve Sachs leading the Dodgers in a lot of things. In hits, runs, stolen bases. And he was tied for fourth with walks. So Sachs has been very busy. He's at first, nobody out, and Kenny Landreaux, the batter. Landreaux a month ago was hitting .358. Now he's hitting .275, a victim of whatever it is that chills him after a great start. It happened last year, and he's in the throes of another slide. On deck, Dusty Baker. Kenny waiting. Pastore throws to first. Back in there is Steve Sachs. Frank Pastore. His middle name, Enrico. I'm sure his folks were fans of Caruso. Frank, a high set up around the breastbone. The pitch to Landreaux over for a strike and the count 0-1. Both pitchers bring their hands together and come to a complete stop at the belt. Pastore does it somewhere around the breastbone. A little bit tough, too, to exactly see just when and where he sets. And he's off the rubber, and Sachs back off the bag again. Now a throw, and Steve back in standing up. Sachs, among other things, leading the Dodgers in stolen bases. He's stolen 17 out of 22. There he goes. The pitch is a strike. The throw is on a bounce. Alex Trevino has not had the thrill of throwing many people out. One reason, of course, as they always say, you steal a base on the pitcher, as Sachs picks up number 18. In stolen bases for the Reds, the opposition is better than 2-1, 44 stolen bases, while they have been able to nail only 20 runners. So Sachs at second, 0-2 the count to Landreaux, however. And And Pastore out of the stretch. Another look at Steve. The pitch to Landreaux way inside. Ball 1-2. Kenny, of course, would love to get a pitch he can handle and full to at least get Sachs over to third. Lee Lacy hit a home run in the 9th inning, and Pittsburgh beat Philadelphia 1-0. Kent Tekulve over Larry Christensen. 1-2 the count. Landreaux waiting, Sachs at second, Concepcion bird dogging him a little bit, and the 1-2 pitch is low in the dirt. Landreaux with only 13 runs batted in. So Kenny has had a struggle. 2 balls, 2 strikes to count. Baker, Guerrero, and Garvey after that. The Dodgers trying to snap a 4-game losing streak tonight. Jerry Royce against Frank Pastore. Now the 2-2 pitch to Kenny Landreaux. Pastore delivers pulled on the ground to Dreesen. He has to throw to Pastore coming over, and Sachs takes third. So Landreaux does his job. He got his man over, and it's appreciated. The aficionados applaud as he goes trotting back to the dugout. Now Dusty Baker. Dusty Baker hitting .298. He has 9 home runs, 32 runs batted in. Baker has been hitting over .300 for quite a stretch. In fact, for a month there, he was hitting about .331. And the pitch to him is taken high and outside. Dusty with 32 runs batted in. Guerrero leads the club with 38. So Steve Sachs at third. 1 ball and no strikes. And Pastore delivers low. Ball 2, 2-0. Pedro Guerrero waiting his turn on deck. Tomorrow night, Bob Welch and Greg Harris, and then Sunday afternoon, Bert Hooton and Bruce Berenier. Pastore hasn't won since a month ago when he beat St. Louis 3-1. The 2-0 pitch, Baker fouls it away off to the right upstairs, and the count 2-1. In his next 4 starts, Pastore lost 3, and he had 1 no decision. Now the 2-1 pitch on the way. Pastore delivers inside, ball 3. The Pastores have a youngster, a son, Frank, who was born almost a year ago while Pastore was pitching here at Dodger Stadium. He might remember that day. It was the 29th of May, and of course, he was out there pitching and greatly concerned about his wife, Gina. 3-1 pitch, off speed and hit foul outside of third and down the line. 3-2. So Frank Pastore, who's been with Cincinnati since 1979, to this year, he was a break-even pitcher, 23-23, and right now he's 1 under 500. Pastore out of a stretch to improve his control, and the pitch to Baker is line to right and sinking for the hit. Sachs has gone back to third, and now comes in to score, so just like that, it's tied up. So Baker nudged one into right field for a base hit to get the Dodgers even. And that'll bring up Pedro Guerrero. And, of course, Steve Sachs making more contributions. First he walked, stole second, and eventually comes home on a hit. For Sachs, he has now scored 36 runs. So he really has been a marvelous offensive weapon for the Dodgers. Pedro Guerrero checking in. Baker draws the throw and gets back. Final score, the Cardinals polished off the New York Mets tonight, 7-3, and Duhar beating Randy Jones. So Joaquin is 6-4. The pitch to Guerrero on the outside corner for a strike, 0-1. Guerrero has been hitting, although he has not been tearing it up. He's hitting 13 of his last 15. Throw to first, again Baker back to the bag. Dusty is 6 out of 10 in stolen bases. On deck, Steve Garvey. 1-1 tie here in the first inning. And Pastore delivers, and what sounded like a cracked bat, and the ball is hit foul in the lower deck off to the right. And Guerrero looking at it, but evidently it's okay. I think he hit it off the end of the bat, and it had kind of a twang to it. 0-2 to Pedro Guerrero. One out, a 1-1 tie. Milner doubled and came home later on as Concepcion grounded out, and Baker singled home sack. Guerrero fouls it back, second deck off to the right of the plate, and the count 0-2. No balls and 2 strikes to Pedro Guerrero. Dan Dreesen holding the bag on Baker, and Pastore squinting in to get a sign from Trevino. Now comes back to his hitter, and that's hit to right center field and sinking and will fall for a hit. It's knocked down by Eddie Milner. And by the time he recovers and gets it in, there are Dodgers at second and third. So with runners at second and third and 1 out and a 1-1 tie, Steve Garvey coming up. Charlie Lee Brandt will get up in the Cincinnati bullpen. And John McNamara goes walking out to the mound, and he's walking in a hurry. So Charlie Lee Brandt throwing in the pen. And the Dodgers here in the inning with a walk, a single, and a double are trying to break the tie and chase Pastore. And the ballgame has really just started. McNamara continues to talk to Pastore, so timeout for the moment. One of the glaring problems with the Dodgers this year, they get people on base, but they don't get them home. For instance, when you look at the team batting average, it's a very respectable 261. But then when you look at the National League weekly averages, it jumps out at you. The Los Angeles Dodgers lead the National League. And you know what department? That's right, left on base. Here they are with runners at second and third, and they lead by plenty. Here's Garvey. Garvey hitting 249. And Pastore delivers. That's it foul down the right field line and peeling off and caught by the ball boy down by the top roller. 0-1 the count. So Sachs walked and stole second. Landreaux got him over to third, and Baker picked him up with a base hit. And Guerrero has just doubled Baker to third. Garvey has always hurt the Reds throughout his career. This time he lifts a fly ball into shallow right. Coming in for it is Householder, tagging Baker, and Baker's not coming. Householder's throw is cut off by Dreesen. It would have gotten him. So Garvey can't get anybody home, and it's up to Say. Boy, I guess that probably is the biggest indictment of any team. To lead the league in men left on base. And now, here's Say. Ron Say hitting 245. He has 5 home runs and 20 runs batted in. Trying to get squared away here with Pastore. Dodgers at second and third, 2 out, a 1-1 tie here in the first inning. Pastore will now go to a windup. Frank ready, and his first pitch to Say. Fastball is hit to the hole, backhanded by Concepcion, who cranks up and throws him out. And the Dodgers leave runners at second and third. And the stigma is still there. A 1-1 tie.
Yeah, just a few minutes away from the first round at Las Vegas, the WBC Heavyweight Championship fight. Larry Holmes eager to show up Jerry Cooney as the glorified amateur remained a solid 9-5 favorite to defeat the unbeaten #1 contender. Cooney is ready to take the title, he says.
Well, I've been away from home since November, and I didn't come over here to Las Vegas to lose the fight. And I've been working with Victor Valley, the best trainer in the world, and we've worked for quite a long time for this fight.
Jerry says he's not concerned with lack of a recent fight time.
But they say I have 86 rounds. Well, after Friday, if I have 87, that's okay with me. When I get finished fighting, if they still ask those questions, we're going to have to understand what I wanted to do.
Comments from the challenger. Holmes is 39-0 with 29 knockouts. Cooney, who's almost 6'6", has nearly a 3-inch height advantage and a 12-pound weight advantage after weighing in at 225.5 on Thursday.
1-1 tie at the end of an inning. Meanwhile, on the scoreboard, the Chicago Cubs trailed 5-0, then 5-3, then 7-3. They came up with 5 runs in the 8th inning to take an 8-7 lead. And remember, the Cubs have lost 10 in a row. And don't you know Montreal just scored twice in the bottom of the 8th inning? It is 9-8 Montreal, and the Cubs are 3 outs away from stepping off the pier. Johnstone, Moreland, and Oliver, home run. Santa Monica Pier or in the lake. Holy mackerel. The Cardinals beat the Mets 7-3. Pittsburgh on Lee Lacy's 9th inning home run beat Philadelphia 1-0. Houston, San Diego scoreless at the end of 2. And Atlanta picked up 2. Dale Murphy just did his 18th up in San Francisco with a man aboard. American League in a moment. Mike Vail will start it off, the right-hand hitting left fielder. He'll be followed by Johnny Bench and then Paul Householder. And the pitch is swung on and fouled away, 0-1. They're in the bottom of the 8th inning. California 6 and Chicago 1. Bruce Keeson had a perfect game for 6 1/3 innings until Tony Bernazard tripled in the 7th with 1 out. And that led to the White Sox run. Toronto beat Oakland 2-1. Baltimore 9 and the Yankees 4. Curveball fouled away. Boston 6 and Cleveland 2. It is 6-5. Milwaukee leading Detroit at the end of 7. 2-2. Seattle, Kansas City at the end of 8. Minnesota, Texas rained out. Pitch fouled away, so it's still 0-2. Mike Vail starting it off. Then Johnny Bench and Paul Householder. Royce looks in to get a sign. Socia wigwagging a couple of signs out, and Jerry into the windup. Strike 2 pitch on the way is swung on and missed. Fastball got him. Let's pause for station identification. This is the Los Angeles Dodgers Radio Network.
And this is the American Forces Radio and Television Service.
Johnny Bench coming up. John hitting 220. Boy, how the stars have fallen. You see Bench hitting 220. Tom Seaver having his problems. Then Ron Say, Steve Garvey struggling. Royce into the windup. Jerry delivers. Fastball hit foul outside of third, and the count 0-1. June the 11th. Kind of a big day in the Dodger family, and particularly in the family of Ross and Lynn Porter, with Wes and Mindy, the twins, celebrating a birthday today. And, of course, Ross Jr. graduating from high school today on his way to Pappy School at the University of Oklahoma. So what a day. June the 11th, 1969 for Wes and Mindy. The pitch fouled away. And from all of us, happy birthday to the kids and the heartiest congratulations to Ross Jr. Indeed, indeed. John waiting at the plate. Royce ready, comes to him, and it's grounded foul outside of third. 0-2 the count. We mentioned it last night. Bench has had some trouble breathing this year. They found a polyp in his nasal passage, and he'll probably have to have surgery after the season, although medication is helping it right now. John tied with Ralph Kiner for 26th place on the all-time home run list. He has 369. Royce ready, and the strike 2 pitch low and inside. Ball 1, 1-2. The next one he hits with Ty Gil Hodges. He's also up there in the RBI list, pursuing Enos Slaughter. Bench takes low, ball 2, 2-2. One away here in the second inning, a 1-1 tie. The Reds a run on a hit, Milner's double. The Dodgers a run on 2 hits. But for the Dodgers, second and third and 1 out, they couldn't get anybody home. The 2-2 pitch is swung on and missed. Royce taking a lot off, and Bench way out in front of it, and down he goes.
That is 7. Number 21, right fielder, Paul Householder.
So Royce strikes out 2, and now the right fielder, Paul Householder, coming up. Well, it's not only the veterans like Bench and Seaver and Say and Garvey who are having their troubles. The kids are, too. Here's the case in point. A youngster they feel has a world of ability. after 2 big years at Indianapolis. Paul Householder, he takes the strike. The switch hitter is batting 170. Householder batting right-handed. The strike one pitch to him is low, and the count 1 ball, 1 strike. Householder will be 24. Roy squinting in to get a sign from Mike Socia. The left-handed delivers a chopper down to short. Tough play for Russell. Oh, he short hopped on the run and got him. What a play. That's really do or die. If you miss it, it's going to go on out into left center. But he came up with it and got him. And at the end of an inning and a half, a 1-1 tie.
Let's update baseball now. Cincinnati at the Chicago Cubs at Montreal. After 2.5, the Expos 2, the Cubs nothing. Al Oliver, a home run for Montreal in the first, one on his 6th of the year. Doug Bird, 3 and 6 for the Cubbies. Charlie Lee, 4 and 2 for Montreal. Pittsburgh has defeated Philadelphia 1-0. Pittsburgh 1 run, 9 hits, no errors. Phillies no runs, 4 hits, no errors. Colby in relief, the winner, 4 and 2. Christensen, the loser, 3 and 4. Attendance at Veterans Stadium, 30,870. Houston at San Diego, nothing in yet. Sutton for Houston, Lawler for San Diego. St. Louis leads the New York Mets after 1.5, 3-0. Angiwar 5 and 4 for the Cardinals. Jones 6 and 4 for the Mets. Porter, a home run for St. Louis, the second one on his 5th of the year. Starting later, Atlanta at San Francisco. In the American League, after 4.5, it's Oakland 1, Toronto 1. Kingman for Oakland, Clancy for Toronto. After 3.5, the Red Sox lead the Indians 4-2. Baltimore has just beaten New York 9-4. Home runs, Renicky for the Orioles in the first with 2 on his 14th of the year. Back-to-back it is. Ripken for Baltimore in the first, nobody on his 5th of the year. And after 7.5, California in front of Chicago, 6-1. Again, we're going to give you highlights after each round of the Holmes-Cooney fight as soon as we receive it in, thanks to KNX Radio in Los Angeles, also ATR and UPI Radio. Right now, let's go to the home second. Dodgers coming up.
Bottom of the second inning, a 1-1 tie. Mike Socia will start it off, followed by Bill Russell and then Jerry Roy. Socia back in the starting lineup. Yeager caught 4 in a row. And now Socia's turn. Mike hitting .236. He was in there last night and had 1 hit. He doubled inside first down the line and drove in a run. Socia at the plate, and Frank Pastore looks in to get a sign. Right-hander into the windup and delivers, and the first one a strike, and the count 0-1. Johnny Bench about even with the bag at third, but they're certainly not expecting Socia to try to bunt. And Mike tired of waiting back out. Pastore into the windup, and the strike one pitch sprayed foul off to the left upstairs. 4th level, and the count 0-2. Well, the Dodgers, of course, were knocked on their numbers by Atlanta, losing 3 straight to them. The Reds haven't had much luck. They lost 3 in a row to the Braves at home, and then lost 2 out of 3 in Atlanta. The pitch to Socialo. So they've lost 5 out of 6 to the Braves. And of course, the Dodgers will stop in Atlanta, one of the stops on this upcoming road trip. June has been a traveling month for the Dodgers. 22 of the 29 games played this month. They're hitting the road. Socia thumbs one, and it's just off the glove of Ron Oster and on out into right field. Oster diving to smother it, but all he did was deflect it on out into right. And that'll bring up Bill Russell following the base hit by Socia. Had an ailing back, positive playing on the AstroTurf in Pittsburgh and St. Louis, so that when he came home, he just couldn't bend. It's pain in the lower back, but he said he's ready to play tonight, and he's in there. The pitch to him over for a strike. It was too bad because for a while there, he was the Dodgers' hottest hitter. He had 5 hits against the Braves, but then the back flared up. Russell waiting, Pastore delivers, and that's driven into right center, so he hadn't lost the touch. Socia is on his way to third on a long single by Bill Russell. Batting ninth,
So Charlie LeBrant was throwing in the first inning. And the Dodgers left runners at second and third, and Charlie's up again in the Cincinnati pen as the Dodgers go right after Pastore. First and third, nobody out, and you have Jerry Royce. Well, we'll see how the Dodgers play it. They might have Royce bunt just to get Russell to second, stay away from the double play, and leave it up to Sachs. We'll see. Royce this year has 5 hits, a double and 1 run batted in. He has a half a dozen sacrifices, and he swings and hits one to bench, but there's nobody covering second. Ron Oster couldn't get over to second base looking bunt, and Bench had to throw to first, so it's a swinging bunt, so to speak. Of course, it is ruled a time at bat, so Royce grounds to third. Russell is at second, Scioscia holding at third. And the Dodgers, who left runners at second and third in the first inning, have runners at second and third and 1 out in the second. Steve Sachs walked, stole second, and eventually came home with a run in the first inning. 1 away. Sachs with Landreaux to follow. Pastore pitching out of his stretch again. Frank set, looks at his runners. Now the pitch to Sachs, the comebacker. Steered there, and the throw goes to first. They had Scioscia, and Scioscia scores. Oh, did Pastore kick that one? Scioscia had committed himself, and Pastore just went to first. And Scioscia, who is anything but fleet-footed, continued home to score, but Pastore could have had him easily. So the Dodgers lead 2-1, and the batter now is Kenny Landreaux. So Sachs will get credit for a run batted in. And the Dodgers leading 2-1 as Landreaux, grounded out in the first inning, checks in. 2 runs, 4 hits for the Dodgers, 1 run, 1 hit for the Reds. And of course, had Pastore reacted properly, the Dodgers would be faced with another bleak situation of leaving men on base. The pitch to Landreaux is low, ball 1, 1-0. Pastore again out of his stretch. Looks at Russell at second. Right-handed delivers, and Landreaux hits a high drive into right field. Back goes Householder to the wall. It's gone. And in a somewhat bizarre inning, the Dodgers lead 4-1. Since it was his first of the year, you're wondering about his last one. It was against Bob Nepper, October the 4th last year. Nepper pitching with Houston. Baker takes in the dirt, ball 1. We send along a $50 book of Union Oil auto script to the Sir Optimus Boys Club in Santa Paula. What an inning. Couple of base hits, and then Royce swinging away hits the bench, but he can't throw to second base because Oster's looking bunt and he's racing to cover first. And instead of what might have been a double play, they only get an out at first. Then the comebacker to the mound, and Pastore blew that play. He could have had Scioscia. Line drive at Concepcion. So Baker hits it hard, but an out, and the Dodgers enjoy a 3-run inning. And at the end of 2, Dodgers 4, Reds 1.
Okay, let's find out what's happening at Las Vegas. They're underway, and Tom Kelly of KNX Radio Los Angeles at ringside to describe what happened in the first round, the Holmes-Cooney fight.
It was an interesting first round. It opened with Holmes sticking out the left hand and dancing away from Cooney, who kept plodding after him, trying to throw that same left hook, which he landed about 3 times, but with no great force or effect. Right toward the end of the first round, Holmes landed a punch, and it kind of startled Cooney a bit, and because of that, I had the round even, although some of my fellow experts kind of gave it to Holmes. I think it was an even round. They're getting set for round number 2, and we'll be back with a progress report as the fight continues.
Okay, we'll keep you abreast. Of course, between innings, there's usually 7 to 10 minutes to team at bat, so we may have to give you a real rehash of what happened and then go back to Tom Kelly. Earlier, heavyweight James Quick Gillis scored a unanimous 10-round decision over veteran Ernie Shavers. was part of the undercard, of course, of the WBC heavyweight title fight between champion Larry Holmes and challenger Jerry Cooney. Shavers knocked down Tillis in the 9th round, but Tillis came back to batter Shavers in the final 2 rounds. And Trevor Berbick used a powerful right to hammer out a surprising 10-round unanimous decision over previously unbeaten Greg Page in a battle of heavyweight contenders. Berbick avoided the long left jab of Page throughout the fight, sliding to the side and landing dozens of crunching rights to his head. Page, also dancing and jabbing, landed few solid punches in the fight.
Third inning, Dodgers 4, Reds 1. And before play-by-play, here's Jerry Dodson.
Okay, Vinny. For the Reds, it'll be Trevino, Pastore, and Milner, the first 3 due up here to face Jerry Royce. So now has a little lead to work with. Ken Landreaux's home run. Back ground out got the run in. Here's Trevino, the catcher, hitting .284 with no homers and 13 runs batted in. Trevino came over to the Reds from the Mets in the trade that saw George Foster go to New York. Now Royce to the windup man. His pitch on the way to Trevino. The fastball up high, 1 ball and no strike. Royce had 5 and 5 on the year, trying to square it away. Pitched well in his last game against the Cardinals. Here's the pitch, fouled out of play. Ball, 1 strike. Royce on Sunday worked 6 innings, gave up 2 runs and 6 hits to the Cardinals. The Dodgers pulled that game out, winning 5-3. Bouncing ball near second base. Russell makes the play in time. Trevino retires. So 1 away, and here's Pastore coming on. And Pastore will not bat. Wayne Krenchicki is going to bat for Pastore. So Pastore is out early in the ball game. Wayne Krenchicki, 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 came over from Baltimore. That was in a deal for Paul Moskow. So Krenchicki bats here in the 3rd inning. That means Pastore worked 2 innings, allowed 4 runs, 5 hits, no strikeouts and a walk, and Frank leaves, and no doubt a little bit upset about that, pitching at home and coming back and having to leave early in the game. Frank's first game here in Dodger Stadium several years ago, the Dodgers combed him for some home runs. That was a memory he just as soon forget. And last year he had that big night when he pitched on his wife was giving birth to their baby. The 1-0 pitch on the way to Krenchicki. Left-hand batter takes low for ball 2. 2-0 the count. So we'll see about a new pitcher. Charlie Leibrandt was down there a little while ago, and he's still warming up now. Next pitch is in for a strike, and it's 2-1. 2 balls, 1 strike. The 3rd inning. And the 2-1 pitch. Chopped away foul out of play, 2-2. 2 balls and 2 strikes. In the on-deck circle is Eddie Milner, the center fielder. Dodgers evened the score with 1 in the 1st inning, then added 3 more in the 2nd. Big Jerry Royce on the hill, ready to go with it. 2-2 count. And the pitch. Struck him out. High hard on him. Down goes Krenchicki. The 3rd strikeout for Royce. And the batter will be Milner, who opened the game with a double to left field and came around to score after a sacrifice and a ground out. Eddie Milner batting .257 at the start of the game. Dodgers lead 4-1, trying to snap a 4-game losing streak. So after a 4-5 road trip, the Dodgers come home for 7, and now they've got the sweep in order to make it a 3-4 homestand. Breaking ball is down low, 1 ball and no strikes. And then on the road they go Monday to San Diego, 3 games in San Diego, and a travel day, and 4 more in Cincinnati, 3 in Atlanta, and 3 in Houston. Longest trip of the year. There's a bouncer foul, first base side. And it'll be a 1 ball, 1 strike count to Milner. 1-1 count. Next pitch is a strike. And it's a 1-2 count now to Milner. 1 ball, 2 strikes. And the windup and pitch. Fly ball into right field. Guerrero coming up for it. Pedro's right there. makes the captain with side retired. So they're gone 1-2-3 in the third. And the score at the end of 2.5, Dodgers 4 and the Reds 1.
Okay, we'll go to Tom Kelly for a rehash of the third and fourth round a little later. But round 2, here we go. Larry Holmes knocked down Jerry Cooney with a right about 2 minutes into that second round. Cooney took an 8 count, then got up. Holmes again dominated the round as Cooney again stayed mainly in mid-ring. Holmes circled in an effort to floor him again, then threw the majority of blows, trying to stick the challenger with jabs. Cooney's main thrust was toward Holmes' midsection. So there you have it. The first round about even. That round, of course, has to go to Holmes. We'll be back again with more on it a little bit later on. Sunny and warm in Las Vegas as the fight is now in the fourth round. Official National Weather Service temperature was 100 degrees. Holmes-Cooney fight being held outdoors at a makeshift temperature. And the first round, as it started, the temperature was in the mid-80s. Let's update the baseball scoreboard. National League, again, the Pittsburgh Pirates have beaten the Phillies 1-0. We'll check more later.
Friends, there are 3 special attractions on the Dodgers homestand running from June 28th through July the 4th. Monday night, June 28th, will be poster night, a free poster showing past World Series program covers to all fans in attendance. Wednesday night, June 30th, will feature a 5:05 doubleheader between the Dodgers and the Padres. And Saturday night, July 3rd, is fireworks night. Only general admission tickets on a guaranteed seat basis are available for fireworks night. Make your ticket plans now. A lot going on at Dodger Stadium. Be part of it. To the last half of the third, Charlie Leibrandt will come on now for the Reds. Leibrandt making his 15th appearance. 2-1 is his record on the year with a 1.74 earned run average. Leibrandt has been a sometime starter, and last year with the Reds was 1-1 at Cincinnati and 4-7 at Indianapolis. Leibrandt on the verge of making it with a big club, but he has been up and down several times to Cincinnati and Indianapolis. Out of Chicago, Illinois, 6'4", 200-pound left-hander, Charlie Leibrandt, Leibranddt. Leibrandt will pitch first to Guerrero, then Garvey, then Shea here in the third inning. Guerrero doubled to right center his first time up. Pedro hitting .313. He's been slumping a bit, so he's trying to get it back together again. Okay, standing in. Pete Guerrero batting fourth in the order, and Leibrandt down into the windup. Pitch on the way. A little high for a ball as Pedro ran up to zip the bunt, let it go by. 1-0 the count. 1 ball and no strike. Now the pitch again. Swing and a miss. Off-speed pitch, and it's 1-1. Well, Montreal hung on to beat the Chicago Cubs 9-8. And the Cubbies now have lost 11 straight, which is a seasonal high in the league. They haven't won a game since they beat the Dodgers in Chicago a couple of weeks ago. Fernando started them on the skid, and they're still going down. Simon was the winner, and Campbell was the loser. 2-1 pitch on the way to Pedro, high and away for a ball. So the Cubs now have fallen to 14 games back, and they trail Pittsburgh by 6. And Pittsburgh's in 5th place, so the Cubbies are really going downhill. Pedro takes high for a ball. He's on with a walk. That's the first walk, first batter that Leibrandt faces, and here's the Garvey at bat. Montreal has moved into a virtual tie with Philadelphia for second, 3.5 games back. The Mets are 5.5. Pittsburgh remains 8 back, and Chicago now 14 back. 1 on, nobody out. Leibrandt ready to go. Hit and run play, swinging a bouncing ball, left field base hit. Here's Guerrero around on his way to third. He will make it easily. On the hit and run play, Concepcion, the shortstop, broke the cover, and Garvey hit it right through the hole. So perfect execution that time. As Garvey gets a base hit, bouncing one to left field. Guerrero winds up at third base, and the batter now will be Ron Fay, who grounded to short his last time up. The Dodgers are trying to open this one up, and what they really need is a big lapper. 11 haven't had any of those for a long time. They've had a lot of tough ones. But the way the trend is going right now, they have a chance to get one going. But they've got to keep the attack rolling here in the third inning. Runners at first and third with nobody out. Fay the hitter. And Lee Brandt's pitch. Herky took a high fly ball to left field. Should be deep enough to get Guerrero home. As Vail makes the catch to left, brings his throw to second base. Pedro comes across the score, and the Dodgers lead 5-1 on the sacrifice fly by Ron. Makes the catch to left, brings his throw to second base. Pedro comes across the score, and the Dodgers lead 5-1 on the sacrifice fly by Ron Fay. Ronnie, his 21st RBI. Here's Mike Scioscia bat. He's 1 for 1 with a single to right field. So walk, a single, and a sacrifice fly for a run. 5-1 Dodgers. We're in the third inning. Okay, Scioscia waiting, hitting .236. Lee Brandt ready, and the left-hander deals high for a ball. 1-0 the count. After Scioscia will be Bill Russell. 1-0 the count. They're trying to move Milner over a little bit into center field. He's in left center right now, slightly off the mark. Scioscia takes a curveball for a strike, and it's 1-1. Charlie Lee Brandt pitching to Mike Scioscia here in the third inning. 5 runs and 6 hits for the Dodgers. For the Reds. Now the 1-1 pitch. Fly ball to center field. He hit it deep. Milner has to go way back for it. Now near the track makes the catch for the out. So Scioscia fly ball to deep center field. 2 down, and the batter will be Russell. Russell has singled and scored a run. Billy hitting .266 with 2 home runs and 19 RBIs. So a rather promising beginning. A walk to Guerrero and a hit and run single by Garvey, but now 2 fly ball outs. The Dodgers are about to settle for only 1 in the inning unless Russell can keep it going with Royce on deck. Pitch to Billy, in for a strike at the knees. We're in the bottom of the third inning, and it's 5-1 in favor of the Dodgers. Russell swings at a sinker, and his bat goes flying all the way to third base. And it went beyond the bag, and Danny Ozark there picks it up and gives it to the bat boy. So Russell lost the bat. And Billy now ready to go back in there again. Strike 2 count. Like he swung one-handed and his hand came right off the bat. Garvey on first. 2 outs. Lee Brandt up with the arms. And the pitch to Russell. High off the glove of Sofino all the way to the backstop. And down to second base goes Garvey. A turn and holding there. Lee Brandt really threw that one high and wide inside. A wild pitch for the Reds left-hander. Garvey at second base and Russell trying to pick him up. Billy has 19 runs batted in on the year and is hitting .268. Final score in the American League, Milwaukee with 2 in the bottom of the 8th inning beat Detroit 8-6. Vukovic over Lopez, and Fingers got his 12th save. The 1-2 pitch. Looped into shallow center field. Milner coming up for it. He's there, and makes the catch to retire the side. 1 run, 1 hit, 1 left on. The score at the end of 3 innings of play. The Dodgers 5, and the Reds have 1.
They're turning out already in New York City to say no to the spread of nuclear weapons. Police figure that 500,000 people will turn out tomorrow in New York City for what would be the biggest anti-nuclear rally ever in the U.S. Hundreds of early arrivals are already in the city, including the ones ABC's Martin Bush saw across from the United Nations.
Those are homemade tom-toms being beaten by young people from the Onondaga tribe of Indians. There are others here as well. A young man from Japan, a young lady from Canada, part of an international group. Only about 10 sitting in Ralph Bunche Park, directly underneath a sign cut into the stone that says they shall beat their swords into plowshares. They are here a day early for the huge demonstration and march against nuclear armament here in New York City.
That's Martin Bush. The big rally will be held in Central Park. Argentina claims that British jets fired 2 missiles at an Argentine hospital ship in the South Atlantic today, but missed. President Reagan's back in the White House after ending his European trip.
Updating the Holmes-Cooney fight, round 3. Jerry Cooney became more aggressive in this round. Larry Holmes tried to set Cooney up with his jab, landing often. Cooney missed a left, the punch he has left or led with throughout the bout, but he connected with a left uppercut to the chest. He seemed to be working on Holmes' ribs. The two fighters did a lot of moving around in the late part of the round. Tom Kelly will report the next time around, see what's happening at Las Vegas. Right now, let's go back to baseball.
Roy struck out pinch hitter Krenchicki, who batted for Pastore in the top of the inning, and then Liebrandt came on in to take over the pitching. So we're set to go now, and Oster stepped in, and for more play, let's go back to Vince.
Okay, Jerry, Ron Oster sacrificed in the first inning, moving Milner to third where they picked him up. So Oster switch hitter batting right-handed. 5-1 Dodgers, and the first pitch swung on and fouled away. So Jerry staked to a 5-1 lead. Into his windup, and the strike one pitch is grounded foul outside of first and down the line. Bangs off the auxiliary scoreboard, and the count 0-2. Charlie LeBrant battling Jerry Royce now. The Dodgers 5 runs, 6 hits. The Reds 1 run, 1 hit. Royce delivers, fastball fouled away into the crowd behind the Cincinnati dugout, and the count 0-2. No balls and 2 strikes to count Oster. Davey Concepcion waiting his turn on deck. Royce into the windup, and another foul ball upstairs off to the right of the plate. So Royce delivers, and Oster keeps fouling them off. Final score, Milwaukee beat Detroit 8-6. And the final score, Montreal beat Chicago 9-8. And the Cubs have lost 11 in a row. That's the longest losing streak. Naturally, the longest winning streak was Atlanta's 13 in a row. Royce ready, delivers, and it is swung on and missed, and down goes Oster. Let's pause for station identification. This is the Los Angeles Dodgers Radio Network. Jerry Royce with 4 strikeouts, and Davey Concepcion, the batter. Concepcion grounded out in the first inning to pick up the run. Davey hitting .305. Royce into the windup. Jerry delivers, and it's off speed and very high. Concepcion ran up as hit the punt. 1-0 to count to Davey. Concepcion with a 12-game hitting streak. Now the next pitch is low. Ball 2, 2-0. The longest hitting streak in the league, Jason Thompson, had a 17-game streak. The pitch over for strike 2-1. Jason, the first baseman for the Pirates, hit in 17 straight from the 21st of April to the 9th of May. And Concepcion now has hit in 12. Here's the 2-1 pitch to Concepcion. Royce delivers, fouled away. With all of these foul balls, you get the idea that Jerry's ball is moving a little more than it had been in a while. And with 4 strikeouts, and Jerry is not particularly a strikeout pitcher, his 2-2 pitch on the way is strike 3 called. Slow curveball, and Concepcion goes down, not before muttering to the rookie umpire, Bob Davidson. So 5 strikeouts for Jerry, and Dan Dreesen the batter. The most strikeouts in a game this year by a pitcher, 11. Done twice by Mario Soto, Nolan Ryan, and Steve Carlton. But, of course, Carlton then the other night struck out 16. And here is Dreesen, and he hits a pop fly. Sachs angles out on the grass, and it's an easy inning for Royce, who's really pitching now. He's retired everybody since the leadoff double by Milner, and at the end of 3 1/2, Dodgers 5, Reds 1.
This is the American Forces Radio and Television Service.
Check on the fight again. Cooney was more aggressive in round 4, began landing a lot more. Holmes started the round off with a bunch of jabs and landed. Holmes caught Cooney in the chin with a left hook in the first minute. Also in the first minute, Cooney connected to Holmes' body. In round 5, the round was uneventful with the first minute and a half, with the round pretty much even. Cooney sent Holmes back a bit with a right in the first minute. Late in the round, Holmes caught Cooney on the left side of the head, later connected with a right. Let's continue on and see what's happening as we go to Las Vegas. And again, KNX Radio sportsman on the scene, Tom Kelly.
This is a strange fight. Just when it looks as though Cooney is going to go down, Booney comes back and wins a round. He was down in round 2, staggered in round 6, came back and won round 7 in the opinion of yours truly and the rest of the so-called experts gathered here, as I don't think Holmes really threw a punch in the 7th round. Cooney busy throwing lefts and rights, and like most good fighters, once you throw a left hand and keep throwing it, why, you seem to have the best of the round against no matter who you're fighting. Both of these men are putting on an excellent show. It's extremely warm in Vegas. They're expending a lot of energy, and there is a slight abrasion around the nose and up around the left eye of Cooney, but it has caused no problems so far in the fight. Right now, I've got it Cooney ahead by just a point. We're going into round number 8. Up.
5 runs on a half a dozen hits for the Dodgers. 1 run, 1 hit for Cincinnati. That was Milner's double. And Royce has gotten everybody since. He's retired 12 in a row. The strike 1 pitch on the way is outside and high. 1 ball, 1 strike. So Frank Pastore worked 2 innings. It was not his night. They hit for him. And LeBrant now's 1-1 pitch is pulled into right field. A base hit for Royce. So Jerry Royce comes up with his 6th hit of the year. And the batter will be Steve Sachs. Steve Sachs has walked and hit back to the box. So Royce standing at first, putting on the windbreaker. And Sachs checking with Danny Ozark before he climbs in. On deck, Ken Landreaux, who hit his first home run of the year tonight. LeBrant out of a stretch. The left-hander delivers, and there's a high bouncer over the mound, over second, into center field, and Royce is going to go to third. And the throw to third, he is in there. As it's got by Bench, and it's backed up by LeBrant, and into second goes Sachs. I couldn't believe Royce was going to take the extra base, and he just did get away with it. He's got to be feeling pretty chipper. Nobody out to go first to third on a single to center. Royce was nailed trying to score in St. Louis on a base hit thrown out of the plate. He just did make it to third, and now second and third, and here is Landreaux. So the Dodgers leading 5-1. Landreaux is grounded out and homered, and LeBrant delivers in the dirt. A good save by Trevino. Ball 1. 1-0. Now Charlie set. The left-hander comes back 1-0, and there's a line drive into right field. Base hit. Royce will score. Sachs will stop, and on the throw that gets through the catcher Trevino, into second base goes Landreaux, and the Dodgers lead 6-1. Dusty Baker will be coming up, and in a moment the Reds will get somebody up in their bullpen. 6 runs, 9 hits for the Dodgers. 1 run, 1 hit for the Reds. And with Landreaux at second and Sachs to third. Still nobody out. And here is Baker. Singled and lined out to short. Left-hander Bob Shirley begins to throw in the Cincinnati bullpen, and the fastball is low to Baker, ball 1, 1-0. So the Dodgers scoring in every inning and leading 6-1 here in the fourth. Now the 1-0 pitch on the way. LeBrant delivers, and the big chopper to third. Bench going after Sachs, who gets back to the bag. Then he throws to first for the out. So the run is holding as Baker grounds out. 1 away. And the batter is Guerrero. The Dodgers left second and third in the first inning. And with second and third and nobody out, Baker can't pick anybody up. And here's Guerrero. And Guerrero is going to get 4. They're going to walk Guerrero intentionally and take their chances hoping to get a double play on Garvey, or at least a fourth play. So there's the first of 4 wide ones. So in a moment, the Dodgers will have the bases loaded. And Steve Garvey coming up. The Dodgers leading 6-1. They have a golden opportunity to break it wide open. Garvey has lined to right and then hit the hit-and-run single to left in the third inning. So Guerrero at first, Landreaux at second, Sachs at third, 1 out. Garvey hitting .248. Will pitch out of a stretch. The left-hander ready. Set at the belt. The pitch to Garvey is swung on and missed. And LeBrant turned it over. It acted somewhat like a screwball. Bottom dropped out of it. 0-1. Here in the inning, Royce singled to right. Sachs singled up the middle with Royce taking third. He just didn't make it. Then Landreaux singled home Royce. Sachs took third, and Landreaux took second on the throw to the plate. And after Baker grounds out, they walk Guerrero. 0-1, the count to Garvey. LeBrant set at the belt. The strike 1 pitch, and Garvey takes high. 1-1. The Chicago White Sox didn't win, but they had to scare the Angels half to death. The Angels were leading 6-0, and the White Sox got 1 in the 7th, 2 in the 8th, 2 in the 9th, and fell a buck short. And the next one, Garvey in, ball 2. So Bruce Keaton got the win. Johnson lost it. Jeff Corbett picked up a save. And now, on a 2-1 count, Stein called Bill Fisher going out to the mound to talk to LeBrant. Fisher, the pitching coach for John McNamara. So the base is loaded, 1 out, and the Dodgers leading 6-1. On deck, Ronce. Fisher, who holds a rather remarkable stat in his pitching days of consecutive innings without a walk being allowed, trying to counsel his young pitchers. Fisher went 84 and a third consecutive innings without walking a batter when he pitched in the big league. Garvey winds up, swings, and misses. And they count 2-2. LeBrant checking Trevino. The two fellas who for years have been the spark plug for the Dodgers in run production, Garvey and Say. Both men struggling a little bit. The 2-2 pitch, fisted foul over the screen into the back. 2-2. Garvey with 24 runs batted in, and Say with 20. And of course, the Dodgers, as we mentioned, leading the league in men left on. And you know that if they're leaving that many men on, and the fact that Garvey and Say do not have a lot of RBIs when given the opportunities, you know that they're two of the culprits. The 2-2 pitch is a little fly ball to right. That's going to be trouble. It's going to drop. In comes Sachs. In comes Landreaux. Stopping at third, Guerrero on a fluke single to right. And Garvey and the Dodgers will take it. 8-1 Dodgers. So the Dodgers leading 8-1 now on a little blooper by Garvey. It was hit in no man's land just inside the right field foul line and too far back and not high enough for Oso or Greason to get to it. So 8-1 Dodgers. And here is Ron Say. LeBrant checking. The left-hander delivers, and Say, it's a ground ball to Bench. Juggles and has to go to first, and the run scores. John had an easy play at the plate, but he couldn't handle the ball cleanly. So the Dodgers get another gift, and they lead 9-1. So the Dodgers are not only leading, they are lucky tonight. If you go into the Dodger clubhouse after a couple of their tough defeats, the fellas would naturally take time to point out that this bloop single and that ground ball that had eyes, well, it is coming back the other way tonight. Everything they hit finds a hole, a blooper here, a ground ball there. And a bad play by the Reds. Mike Scioscia takes low, ball one, 1-0. The Reds defensively, it's not the number of errors they made. And tonight they have not been charged with an error, but they have made poor plays. They have failed to execute. The 1-0 pitch, now back, 1-1. Of course, Frank Pastore was guilty of that in the second inning. The Dodgers scored 1 in the first, 3 in the second, 1 in the third, and 4 in the fourth. So they're leading 9-1 here with 2 outs. Scioscia singled and flied out, and he looks at a pitch down and away. 2-1 to count, Mike. On deck, Bill Russell. It'll be a big night for Gregg. Born in Linwood. The 2-1 pitch. Inside, ball 3. 3-1. Gregg went to school at Long Beach City College. And he'll be on the hill tomorrow night at Dodger Stadium for Cincinnati. He waited a while. He's 26. 3-1 pitch. Scioscia pops it up into shallow right field. Householder coming in, and the ball is high enough for him to get under it. Ball makes the catch, and that's a 4-run inning for the Dodgers. At the end of 4, Dodgers 9, Reds 1.
Let's check and see what's happening in the Holmes-Cooney WBC Heavyweight Championship fight. Not much action until late in the 8th round. The two men exchanged blows. Holmes connected with a bunch of rights to the head, causing Cooney to bleed again. Holmes continued working the jab on Cooney's left eye. Holmes started dancing again, but Cooney again standing in mid-ring. Cooney threw a flurry in the second minute. Without doing much damage, Cooney relied on his left. Both fighters were sweating profusely in the 90-plus degree temperatures. When the round ended, Cooney turned and looked at his bum at ringside. Now for round 9, let's go to Las Vegas. On the scene, Tom Kelly.
The niceties went out of this fight about 30 seconds left in round number 9 when Cooney, the challenger, hit Holmes south of the border. And so far south of the border that referee Mills Lane stepped in and gave the champion a respite of about 35 or 40 seconds in which to compose himself, catch his breath, and get himself back in condition to continue the fight. Cooney had been the aggressor. I thought Cooney won the round, but they're going to take the point away from him, and so we'll put that round in Holmes' corner. The fight continues to go on. The experts say the longer it goes, the better it'll be for Larry Holmes, but believe me, both men are feeling the effects. Cooney remains the aggressor, though he's been knocked down once and staggered on another occasion. He still seems to be the stronger of the two men. Holmes no longer up and dancing, but flat-footed as they approach, and we're getting ready for round number 10.
We're going to the 5th inning. The Dodgers 9 runs, 10 hits, no errors. And the Reds 1 run, 1 hit. Mike Vail will start it off. He'll be followed by Johnny Bench and then Paul Householder. Vail struck out in the second inning. So Jerry Royce sitting way up on top of a mountain, leading 9-1, and looking down at Vail. Jerry ready, delivers, and the breaking ball is strike. So if you're up on top of a mountain looking down on Vail, you've got to be in Colorado, of course. And he's in heaven anyway, leading by 8. Jerry ready and comes back 0-1, and it's in the dirt. 1 ball and 1 strike. They're in round 11 of of the Cooney-Holmes fight. 11 of the scheduled 15. I don't know. I saw a couple of rounds. There wasn't anything going on. 0-2 to count. Mike Vail, he's hitting .289 at the start of the game with 3 home runs, 17 runs batted in. Royce's fastball is high, 1-2. Jerry allowed the double to Milner, opening up the ball game, and he hadn't given up anything else since. The 1-2 pitch is in the dirt. Vail starts to swing and holds up. The count 2-2. Royce has retired 12 in a row. Of course, in the 4th inning, he was running the bases. We'll see how he reacts to that here in the 5th inning. 2-2 pitch coming up. Royce delivers, foul back. He had a little something on that one. For Royce, he has struck out 5. He struck out Vail and Bench in the 2nd inning. Then he got Krenchicki in the 3rd. And he struck out Oster and Concepcion in the 4th. Here's the 2-2 pitch. Swung on and hit to left deep, but it is hooking down the line and going foul in the lower deck. They're in the 12th round over in Las Vegas. And from the looks of things, I would guess it's been a pretty close fight. Royce into the windup, and the 2-2 pitch on the way. A busted back ground ball to left, and that's where Belanger is now for Russell, and he throws to first for the out. So another thing for the Dodgers tonight, in piling up a 9-1 lead, they're able to let Russell sit it out the rest of the way. Johnny Bench coming up. Bench struck out in the 2nd inning. Top of the 5th, 9-1 Dodgers. Royce delivers and is swung on and fouled away, 0-1. Dodgers scoring in every inning. And the Reds having that leadoff double by Eddie Milner and nothing else since. Royce has retired 13 in a row. Royce comes back 0-1 and Bench takes it low, 1 ball, 1 strike. John had hit in 7 out of 8. Royce into the windup. The 1-1 pitch to Bench. Fouled away. 1-2. Royce standing back of the rubber, thinking over his pitches. Now Jerry up on top. On deck is Paul Householder. Royce 1-2 pitch. Bench fouled it off again. To repeat, they're in the 12th round over in Las Vegas. If we get any news at all about it, we'll pass it along to you. Here's a 1-2 pitch on the way. Fastball tap foul off to the left of the plate. 1-2. The Dodgers scored 1 in the 1st to tie the Reds, and then 3 in the 2nd, 1 in the 3rd, and 4 in the 4th. Royce into the windup. Here's the 1-2 pitch on the way. Big chopper to stay. Ron gloves it, sets for the throw, and that'll do it for Bench. So Royce was 2 out in the 5th inning. Now has Paul Householder. So Jerry has retired 14 in a row. Householder lost a hit on a good play by Bill Russell. Charging a high chopper. He had a short hop it, kind of a desperate measure type play, and he came up with it to throw him out. Royce delivers, and it's sliced to right center. Guerrero cruising over to handle it. 15 in a row retired by Jerry. He's allowed just a leadoff double. And at the end of 4.5, Dodgers 9 and the Reds 1.
In round 10 of the Holmes-Cooney fight, here's what happened. Jerry Cooney became more aggressive, landing a few blows. Holmes caught Cooney with a right in the first minute, and Cooney landed a few blows in the first minute, mostly in the midsection. Holmes was trapped along the ropes until the referee broke the fighters out of the clutch. Late in that 10th round, the two fighters began swinging away. Cooney caught Holmes at the midsection. Holmes hit Cooney in the jaw. Cooney's left eye started to close up. Both fighters were tiring. Now for the 11th round, let's go to ringside in Las Vegas and Tom Kelly.
There's a slight cut in the eyebrow above the left eye of Jerry Cooney. His corner's working on it. I don't think it's going to be a factor by the time they decide who wins this fight. Another low blow in round 11 took that round away from Cooney. I don't know what Holmes, who suddenly looked very strong, might have won the round all by himself. But a low blow, and that cost Cooney a point. And a very valuable point it is as we get into the late stages of this fight now. It is very close. Holmes now ahead by a point on my scorecard. He knocked Cooney down in the second, just to recap for you. Staggered him again in the sixth. But in between, Cooney has been the aggressor throughout the fight. He's got Holmes now standing flat-footed and fighting, and Holmes looks very much every bit of his 32 years as the heat in Las Vegas is very oppressive and they get set for round 12. I'll be back in a bit.
We'll check in again with Tom Kelly in baseball. Dale Porter drove in 3 runs tonight to help the St. Louis Cardinals with the New York Mets 7-3.
We're going to the bottom of the 5th inning with the Dodgers leading the Reds 9-1. They're in the 13th round in Las Vegas. Both fighters appear to be pretty tired at this stage, and there's not really that much to report on it. The early feeling of those who have been watching it say that Holmes, although it is certainly unofficial, but the reports we seem to get, that Holmes would be way out in front on points. Mark Belanger takes high ball 1-0. So Belanger, Royce, and Sachs, bottom of the 5th inning, 9-1 in favor of the Dodgers. Charlie LeBrand in relief of Frank Pastore, and the pitch to Mark is high, ball 2-0. Belanger hitting .263. And Belanger hits it into center field for a base hit. So Mark Belanger opens up the 5th inning with the 11th Dodger hit. In fact, everybody but Say has a base hit, and Say has a scoring fly ball, and he has 2 RBIs. So 4 runs and 6 hits on Charlie LeBrand, and Jerry Royce making his way up to the plate. Royce grounded to third, and then single to right. When he grounded to third, he was around to just a bunt. He's around to bunt now, and this time gets it down. Then has to go to first base, where Ron Oster is covering, so Royce sacrifices. In round 13, it would appear that Jerry Cooney has staggered and gone down. In the 13th round, he held onto the rope with 11 seconds left, but he is a man in dire straits, and they have stopped the fight. And Holmes has just defeated Jerry Cooney. They have stopped the fight in the 13th round with about 9 seconds left, but Cooney stumbled, was almost out on his feet, and they stopped it before he was seriously injured. So that's the report. It is over in Las Vegas, and Holmes, the champion, is the winner. And the pitch to Steve Sachs is inside, ball 1. Cooney's face appeared bloodied, and Holmes appeared to be pretty much in charge of the fight all the way. The 1-0 pitch to Sachs is swung on and missed, 1-1. Sachs walked, hit back to the box, and singled. Steve 1 for 2. Kenny Landreaux is on deck. Big night for Kenny, not only with 2 hits, but he hit his first home run of the year. LeBrand out of a stretch. A 1-1 pitch to Steve Sachs, and that's taken low. So with Landreaux hitting a home run, it would mean that all of the regulars except Sachs has a home run. Regulars now. 2 balls and 1 strike to Steve Sachs. Charlie LeBrand delivers a little number back to the mound. LeBrand is able to look his man Belanger back and then throw to Dreesen for the out. So 2 down, and Kenny Landreaux, the batter.
Landreaux. That'll do it.
The official time of that TKO is 2:52 of the 13th round, and I'm sure they will put the notice up on Diamond Vision at the end of this inning. So 9-1 Dodgers, 5th inning, 2 out. LeBrand looks in to get a sign, and Landreaux waiting. Charlie at the belt. Left-hander kicks, delivers, and misses high and outside. Ball 1, on deck, Dusty Baker. The Dodgers had scored in every inning. They haven't scored here, but they have a man in scoring position. Belanger at second base. 1 ball, no strike. Charlie LeBrant ready, and the 1-0 pitch is a breaking ball fouled away. Landreaux hit that curve off the end of the bat, hit it over near Dusty Baker. 1-1. Kenny backs out for the moment, now back up to the plate. And LeBrant, who is in relief of Frank Pastore, comes back 1-1, and the fastball is in there. Strike 2, 1-2. 9-1 Dodgers in the fifth, trying to snap a 4-game losing streak. Their longest losing streak of the year was 6. And the 1-2 pitch on the way. Landreaux pulls it foul outside of first and down the line. Frank Pastore went 2 innings. The Dodgers scored 5 times. Actually, they 4 times. And then they hit for him. The next pitch to Landreaux, missing ball 2. 2-2 the count. 9-1 Dodgers, bottom of the fifth. LeBrant looks in to get a sign from Alex Trevino. And Charlie is ready. The 2-2 pitch to Landreaux is taken outside, ball 3. 3-2. 9 runs, 11 hits, including a home run by Landreaux and a double by Guerrero. The 3-2 pitch on the way is sliced to left center field. Coming in a hurry is Milner, but it not only lands, it goes all the way to the fence. Belanger will score. Landreaux will be in the third standing, and it is 10-1 Dodgers. A triple for Kenny. 10-1 Dodgers. Will pause for station identification.
This is the American Forces Radio and Television Service.
So the Dodgers really rolling it up now, 10-1, having been thumped the other night by Atlanta, you remember. And Dusty Baker takes the strike, so the Dodgers continue to make it look like a telephone number as they score in every inning. Here's the strike 1 pitch on the way, and Baker drives it to right center, and Milner on his horse for this one, and makes the running catch for the out. Well, the Dodgers get a run on 2 hits, and at the end of 5, Dodgers 10, Reds 1.
Have the final wrap-up of that fight from Las Vegas, and once again, here's Tom Kelly.
Well, the man who claimed he got no respect as heavyweight champion of the world, Kerry, has just gained the respect, I think, of the entire boxing fraternity when he knocked out Jerry Cooney, the undefeated challenger. It'll go down in the books about 2:53 of round number 13, as I'm sure a constant barrage of lefts and rights in the 13th round, the debilitating heat in Las Vegas, and a champion bent on continuing as champion in the heavyweight division just refused to let the talented challenger take the crown away from him. It's a kind of a madhouse scene in the ring in Las Vegas. We had Holmes ahead by 3 points, 116 to 113. Going into this, the 13th round, it became very evident soon into the 13th round that Cooney had literally run out of gas. The heat, the distance, the toughness of the champion, all those playing an important part. Not that Holmes will want to go to the dance tonight. Don't misunderstand me. He's had a very, very tough evening under extreme boxing conditions, but he was very much the best man here tonight. And he proved, if nothing else, that he is a champion worthy of being called that. He is now without a loss. He has 30 knockouts and 40 victories, and he retains his title with his 12th title defense. He has beaten everybody. And in the 13th round, Kerry, he literally, without stop, battered Cooney into the ring ropes. Cooney, a game-tough kid, went halfway down, pulled himself back up. And Victor Valley, who's more like a father than a trainer with this young contender and challenger, jumped into the ring, stopped Holmes, and stopped the official, and stopped the fight.
Tom Kelly reporting from ringside. Again, Larry Holmes remains the World Boxing Council heavyweight champion, stopping Jerry Cooney in the 13th round in Las Vegas. More of the post-fight items coming up, perhaps a comment or two from Larry Holmes, the trainer. We'll keep you abreast of what's happening. Right now, let's go back to the ball game in Los Angeles. Here's Vin Scully.
Final score, Kansas City with a run in the 12th inning. Beat Seattle 3-2. Quisenberry over Vanderberg. We'll have a hitter now coming up for Charlie LeBrand, so that means Bob Shirley will be coming in. Dwayne Walker will be batting for LeBrand. Dwayne Walker. Walker hitting .200. He's only had 10 at-bats. And he is 2 for 10. Hurdle, you might remember, was the opening day outfielder for Cincinnati who failed to cut it. And when Hurdle was sent down, they brought Dwayne Walker up. Left-hand batter. And Royce ready and bounces one in the dirt. Ball one. Dwayne Walker is from Pasadena, Texas. Been in the minors since 1976. Swings and grounds one wide at first to Garvey. The one to hands to Royce coming over. That's 17 in a row. So that takes care of Dwayne Walker, and it'll bring up Ed Milner. Milner opened up the ball game and doubled to left center field. Now that's the only hit and the only man to get aboard for the Reds. Royce has gotten everybody since. So having retired 17 in a row with 2 out in the 6th inning, he'll concentrate on Milner, who has doubled and flied to right. Jerry delivers off speed for a strike in the count 0-1. Milner's the fellow who played winter ball in Venezuela and was recommended by Concepcion. A bouncer down to Belanger, who throws and got him on a good play. Mark Belanger nipping Eddie Milner at first base. And at the end of 5 1/2, Jerry Royce has retired 18 in a row, and the Dodgers lead 10-1.
Okay, let's come back and check some baseball scores. Again, as you heard a while ago, and just joining us, Larry Holmes remains the World Boxing Council heavyweight champion, stopping Jerry Cooney in the 13th round. The fight was stopped about 2 minutes into the round as Holmes sent Cooney to the canvas for the second time in the bout. Holmes was battering Cooney when the challenger went down. Again, we were hoping to have some comments from the fighters or some of the people there at ringside, and we'll be checking in a few moments. Meanwhile, baseball. Bruce Keeson retired the first 19 batters he faced. So the California Angels had to hang on to beat the Chicago White Sox 6-5. Keeson had a perfect game until Tony Bernazard's one-out triple in the 7th inning. He was yanked after Bill Allman's 2-run double in the 8th. Doug Corbett finally got the save after Harold Barnes had gotten a hit off of him. We'll go back to more scores. Right now, let's go back to the Dodgers game.
Tomorrow night it'll be Bob Welch pitching for the Dodgers and Greg Harris for the Reds. And Sunday afternoon, Bert Hooton will go against Cincinnati's Bruce Perini. General admission seats on a guaranteed seat basis available for both games at the Dodgers Advance Ticket Office, 1750 Stadium Way, and at all Ticketron and Mutual outlets. Tomorrow, be with us. The Dodgers and Reds tomorrow night and Sunday afternoon.
We're going to the bottom of the 6th inning. 10 runs, 12 hits, and no errors for the Dodgers. 1 run, 1 hit, and no errors for the Reds. The story tonight, of course, Jerry Royce pitching a gem, and the Dodger hitters having a field day. Charlie LeBrand went out for the pinch hitter, so Bob Shirley will pick up. And in the 6th inning, the Dodgers will have Pedro Guerrero to start it off.
Ronald will now go on shortstop. At second base, batting third, number 12, German Barranca.
German Barranca is now at second base. Ron Oster takes over at shortstop. And Bob Shirley ready to pitch. Guerrero has doubled and walked twice. So they give Concepcion a rest. And the pitch to Guerrero grounded sharply to Oster at shortstop, and Ron throws him out.
Steve Garvey, first base.
So Bob Shirley gets the first man, and the hitter is Steve Garvey. So you can put Barranca in the number 3 slot. And the new pitcher, Bob Shirley. 10-1 Dodgers here in the 6th inning. Garvey tonight flied to right, hit and run single to left, and a fluke single to right, but it knocked in 2 runs. Shirley comes back with a pitch that's fouled away, and the count 1-1. Pitch to Garvey. Shirley delivers low, ball 2, 2-1. Bob Shirley, of course, you remember when he pitched for San Diego. 2-1 the count to Garvey, with 1 away in the 6th inning. Shirley delivers, line outside, ball 3, 3-1. We need a strike on the scoreboard. And played up by Bob Davidson is trying to correct the press box. 3-1 pitch. Garvey's not ready, he backs out. Dodgers have scored in every inning tonight. Every time you get a game like that, which is rare, where you see a team score in every inning. 3-1 pitch, Garvey takes the strike. I always remember Charlie Feeney, the Pittsburgh writer, tongue-in-cheek, saying, I don't know why, but they only let me cover one basketball game. Here's a 3-2 pitch to Garvey. He smelled it, but it's going to hook foul down the line out of play. Feeney said, I don't know why the desk was annoyed. He said, I thought my lead was a good one. He began it in covering a basketball game, scoring in every period. Meanwhile, the Dodgers scoring in every inning and leading 10-1. Ronce on deck. And Bob Shirley, 3-2 pitch, a high drive in the deep left center field, and Garvey has hit it out. Against the Cardinals, and we send along a $50 book of Union All Auto System Macabre Home for Boys in Los Angeles. 1-0 the count to Ron Say. So the Dodgers now with home runs by Landreaux and Garvey continue to score in every inning and lead 11-1. The pitch over for a strike, 1-1. In checking Garvey, we told you the home run in St. Louis, and that means now that's the first home run he has hit here in Los Angeles. Here's the 1-1 pitch, and Say takes high, ball 2. So Garvey with 6 home runs, and he reaches the seats in left center. Shirley ready in the 2-1 pitch. Say hits it to dead center, and that's where Milner is. So that means that Ron is still the only starter without a hit, but he does have a couple of runs batted in. And the batter is Mike Socha. For Shirley. It's only the second home run he's allowed. But Soto and Stevers have allowed 8 each. And Pastore, when he gave up the home run to Landreaux, has now allowed 8. Socha takes high. So the Cincinnati pitchers have allowed 36 home runs. Dodger pitchers have allowed 24 here. Now ball to the right side, and Germany Barranca picks it up and throws him out, and the Dodgers get a run. And at the end of 6, Dodgers 11, Reds 1.
Now an update from ABC News. I'm John Degnan. A ceasefire between Israel and Syria appears to be holding in Lebanon tonight, and fighting between Israel and PLO forces is also reportedly stopped. U.S. intelligence sources, however, say Syria has massed some 20,000 troops near the Lebanese border. President Reagan arrived home from a 10-day European trip this evening, telling a huge crowd at Andrews Air Force Base his goals were accomplished and that America has the respect of its allies.
America has a lot of friends in the world. Yes, there were demonstrators who didn't agree with some of our policies. But I can tell you that in every city The streets were lined wherever they went with people cheering America, and most of them waving American flags.
President Reagan. Argentina claims British warplanes fired air-to-ground missiles at an Argentine hospital ship anchored at Port Stanley, but that neither missile hit its target. No reaction to that charge from the British government. I'm John Degnan, ABC News.
Let's update the baseball scoreboard finals in the National League. Pittsburgh shut out Philadelphia 1-0. Montreal outscored the Chicago Cubs 9-8. And St. Louis down the New York Mets 7-3. After 5, San Diego is ahead of Houston 3-2. And after 3.5, it's Atlanta 5, San Francisco 1. Finals of the American League. Boston 6, Cleveland 2. Baltimore triumphed over New York 9-4. It was Toronto 2, Oakland 1, Milwaukee 8, Detroit 6, and California beat Chicago 6-5. In extra innings after 11.5, Seattle 2, Kansas City 2.
Seventh inning in a one-sided game. The Dodgers 11 and the Reds 1. And for more play, here's Jerry.
Here's an in for the Dodgers now. Ron Renicky goes to left field, so Dusty Baker gets the rest of the night off. And here is Ron Oster's now playing at shortstop with German Barranca on deck, and then Dan Dreesen. As Jerry Royce rocks into the windup, and his pitch on the way is a bouncing ball to third. Say comes in. Nice play, throws, and got him in time. And that is 19 in a row. Retired by Jerry Royce after the leadoff double by Milner. And here is Barranca. German Barranca went into the ball game for Concepcion in the batting order and then moved over to second base. Barranca coming on. After that initial leadoff double, Milner opened up with a double, took third on a sacrifice, and scored on a ground out. And that's been it for the Reds so far. Here's the windup and the pitch on the way to the left-hand batter, in there for a strike 0-1. Next pitch is a strike, 0-2. Count to Barranca. Curveball is a little high for a ball. One ball, 2 strike count. There's a bouncer pull foul off to the left out of play. A 1-2 count still up there. We have one out in the 7th inning. There's a swing and a foul off his fist right back into the screen. The line drive is saved for the out. They lunging to his left to haul that one down for the second out. 2 away. The batter, Dan Dreesen. Jerry Royce has already pitched a one-hitter this year, and it was a first-inning double given up to Art Howe of the Astros in a game at Dodger Stadium on the 21st of April. Here's the pitch on the way to Dreesen. Fastball is in there. Check it a little low. 1 ball and no strikes. Royce trying to regain the form that he had earlier in the year, and the 1-0 pitch on the way. Dreesen looks, and that was a little low ball, too. 2 balls and no strikes. Royce made 4 starts against the Reds last year and was 1-0 against them. And he has a 4-1 record at home this year. He's trying to run that now to 5-1. Strike on a fastball, 2-1. 2 balls and 1 strike. We're in the top of the 7th inning. The Dodgers leading breezing 11-1. They've scored in every inning. A 3-run second and a 4-run fourth of the highlight innings. Now the 2-1 pitch. Dreesen tries to bunt, misses, and it's strike 2, 2-2. Dreesen trying to do what he can to get on base and get something rolling, but the Reds are 10 runs behind. The Dodgers know how they feel. They trailed by that number for Atlanta the other night. There's a breaking ball a little bit low, ball free, and Royce is annoyed with the rookie umpire at the plate, Bob Davidson. He came a little sidearm to Dreesen that time and thought that he had him struck out. All right, a 3-2 pitch on the way. Over the top, bouncing ball over the mound. And up with it is Belanger, throws the first in time, and the side is retired, and Royce is retired 21 in a row. And the score going to the bottom of the seventh inning, Dodgers 11 and the Reds 1.
Good news here for our engineer, the old Kansas Flash, Jeff Valdez. Russ Moorman and Dave Lucas knocked in 2 runs apiece. The 6th-run Wichita State third inning today to face the Shockers to an 8-4 victory over the Longhorns of Texas, thus eliminating the Longhorns from the College World Series. The 6-run uprising came after the pre-tournament favorite Longhorns had taken a 2-1 lead in their half of the first. Wichita State pitcher Brian Oakers went the distance, allowing 9 hits and striking out 7. 3 of those hits came in the first when Texas scored twice on Jeff Herron's single. Texas now 59-6, scored its final run in the 4th inning when Mike Livermore led off the inning with a single, later scored on Tracy Davird's single. So again, in the World Series, College World Series at Omaha, Nebraska, Wichita State has eliminated the Texas Longhorns 8-4. Will now meet the University of Miami Hurricanes. They're undefeated in the playoffs. Jan Stevenson shot her second consecutive 3-under par 69 Friday to grab the second-round lead in the $200,000 LPGA Championship at Kings Island, Ohio. Stevenson, who shared the first-round lead with Therese Hezon and Beth Daniel, ran her string of bogey-less holes to 29 and grew to a 36-hole score of 6-under par 138, one shot better than Daniel. We'll have a baseball update when we come back. Right now, let's go back to Jerry Doggett.
Here's Mark Belanger at bat now to play in the bottom of the 7th inning, and he takes the first pitch from Shirley down low, 1 ball and no strikes. Rafael Landreaux is now at third base for Cincinnati, and Johnny Bench is out for the rest of the evening. As Belanger popped one foul along the first base line, 1 ball, 1 strike. Mark came into the game in the 5th inning for Billy Russell. He singled and scored on Landreau's triple. Landreau has a chance to hit for the cycle tonight. Here's a pitch outside for ball, and the count is 2-1. Kenny has a home run, a single, and a triple. He'll be up there one more turn, either this inning or next inning, looking for a double. Belanger bounces a foul. Curveball was in on his fifth, and Mark fouled it away. 2-2 the count. 2 balls, 2 strikes. The game is in the bottom of the 7th inning. The Dodgers have scored in every inning. To snap that 4-game losing streak. Next pitch, fouled away. Count holding it 2-2. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Shirley delivers. Belanger fouls another one back, and the count holding it 2-2. Gary Royce is out on deck. Royce has been absolutely magnificent tonight, and he pitched a good game in St. Louis last time out. So that brings smiles to the face of Tommy Lasorda, who's been a little bit beleaguered lately. The Dodgers have been down in the doldrums. If he can get Royce and Houghton squared away, that will really be a big help. Here's the 3-2 pitch. Mark lines one to left field. Coming up as Vail makes the catch for the out. So Belanger hit it hard, but right to the left fielder. 1 down, and here's Jerry Royce. Royce has retired 21 in a row after a leadoff double to Milner. At that, and Royce tonight has single scored a run sacrifice. He had 2 hits in his last game at St. Louis, including an RBI. Backs away for fastball on the knuckles, 1 ball and no strike. 1-0 the count. Royce backing up. Bob Shirley out of Oklahoma into the windup, and the pitch to Royce in there for a strike, and it's 1-1. 1 ball, 1 strike. Dodgers 11, and the Reds have 1, and we're in the bottom of the 7th inning. So he swings at a fastball, 1-2. Shirley for a number of years with San Diego, then with St. Louis, and now with the Reds. The 1-2 pitch on the way. Royce puts it 1 low inside, ball 2, 2-2. 2 balls and 2 strikes. The Dodgers, 13 hits. On deck is Steve Sack. Now the 2-2 pitch. Line fouled into the lower stands behind the auxiliary scoreboard in left field. So Royce was around late into the 2-2 count, still up there. 2-2 to Jerry. Shirley ready in the pitch. Struck him out on a high fastball. Well, Shirley gets a strikeout, his first of the game. And as Royce goes back to the bench, a ripple of applause from the fans. And here's Steve back. His walk grounded out for an RBI and single. Saxey is 1 for 3 in the game. And his batting average is at 300. Sax has 71 base hits. And that leads the league. Here's a pitch for a strike, 0-1. Meanwhile, Atlanta is winning easily at San Francisco, so the Dodgers not taking up any ground on the Braves, but they're at least getting a lot of satisfaction of snapping their streak. Fastball is a strike, 0-2 to the count now. Saxey, 20 RBIs on the year. And the pitch. Taken outside for a ball. Landreaux has 4 RBIs tonight. And that gives him 17 for the year. Bob Shirley working a 1-2 pitch on the way. Back loops the foul into the stands behind home plate. Count holding 1-2. 1 ball, 2 strikes with 2 men out. Here's the pitch. Breaking ball right on his belt. 2-2. In fact, he had to pull out of there on that one. Shirley gave him a pretty good slider in sight. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. And the windup and the pitch on the way. Line at shortstop, caught by Oster, and the side is retired. So for the first time tonight, the Dodgers go out in order, and the score at the end of 7 innings, Dodgers 11 and the Reds have 1.
Again, on the big fight at Las Vegas on Friday night, Larry Holmes scored a 13th round TKO over Jerry Cooney to retain the WBC heavyweight crown. The bout in Las Vegas was stopped with 8 seconds left in round 13 after Holmes had floored Cooney for the second time in the fight. Cooney got up and cuts over his left eye and his nose were reopened by a barrage from Holmes. Referee Mills Lane then stopped the fight. Holmes had retained his crown. Holmes sent Cooney to the canvas in the second round with a right that stunned the challenger. Holmes also opened the cuts over Cooney's left eye and nose in rounds 6 and 7. The victory is the 40th of Holmes' professional career without a defeat. It's his 30th by knockout. And it's the 12th time the 32-year-old fighter from eastern Pennsylvania has defended the crown with 11 of those wins by KO. For the 25-year-old Cooney from Huntington, New York, it was his first pro loss in 26 bouts. The fight took place in the makeshift stadium at Caesars Palace Hotel in Las Vegas.
Well, we've played 7 innings in the ball game. For the Dodgers now, we have a change in right field. Darrell Thomas will go in for Guerrero. Thomas in right field. That change to be made as we go to the 8th inning. And the attendance tonight is 37,586. And tomorrow night it'll be Greg Harris, local product, coming into Dodger Stadium to go against Bob Welch. And on Sunday, it will be Bruce Perenni for the Reds against Vertus. 11-1, Dodgers lead, 8th inning, more play. Let's go back to Ben.
All right, Jerry. Some of the regulars being rested on each side in this runaway 11-1 Dodger game. Mike Vail, then Rafael Landreaux, and Paul Householder. So the Dodgers were scrambled by Atlanta 11-5, and now they come back to knock the wheels off the Reds 11-1. Mike Vail struck out and grounded out. Waves at a pitch and doesn't get it, 0-1. The Cincinnati Reds came in here with 32 defeats. One reason why, of course, they're in the cellar in the West. Here's the strike 1 pitch on the way. Lifted to Darrell Thomas in right field. He is right there, puts it in the basket. 1 away. And Rafael Landreaux coming up. The two great teams the Reds had. I mean, the really good ones back in 1975 and 76. In 1976, the Reds didn't lose their 32nd game until July 10th. And in 1975, the team that played that electrifying World Series with the Boston Red Sox, they didn't lose their 32nd game that year until July the 20th. So they are very much off their feet, and you can understand why. The older players have gotten much older, and they lost their outfield. The pitch to Landreaux, a strike, and the count 0-1. I mean, Foster and Griffey and Collins go. It's pretty tough to replace them right away. The strike one pitch on the way. Curveball hit over the mound. Charging it is Sachs. Backhand clanks it up and throws out Landreaux. So that's 23 in a row retired by Jerry Royce. 23. Boy, would there be some drama in this game tonight had Eddie Milner not opened up the game with a double. Royce has gotten everybody since. Householder grounded out, slide to right. Paul is 0 for 2, hitting 167. And the pitch to Paul, curveball for a strike. Householder weighs 180, so he's having one of those nightmare years where he is, in truth, not hitting his weight. The strike one pitch on the way. He takes in the dirt. 1 ball, 1 strike. All part of the seasoning process. Despite all your glistening credentials in the minor leagues, you finally come to the big leagues and the acid is applied. Some hold up and some never do. 1-1 pitch on the way. Fouled off. 1-2 to count. We were talking at the very start of the game about how, despite how poorly the Dodgers have been playing, you're saying how quickly they could turn it around. If Royce could come back and find the groove. The 1-2 pitch is a ground foul outside of third. If Hooten is okay, the rest of them figure to be okay. Valenzuela and Welch. And of course, the 11 runs, 13 hits tonight, that will really pep up the clubhouse. Now the 1-2 pitch on the way. Royce delivers, half swing, strike 3. 24 in a row, retired by Jerry Royce. He has allowed the leadoff double. At the end of 7.5, Dodgers 11, Reds 1.
Ray Floyd is the leader after Friday's second round of the Memphis Golf Classic. Floyd came up with a 4 under par 68 today and is in at 9 under par at 135 with 36 holes. That's 3 shots better than runner-up Mark Lyle, who started the day tied for the lead with Floyd, but could only come up with a 71. Jim Nelford, Hal Sutton, and Mike Pollan are third, 4 strokes behind Floyd. Nelford had a 9 under par 63, including a record-tying 6 under par 30 on the back 9. And at Marlborough, Massachusetts, Art Wall fired a course record-tying 5 under par 66 Friday to catch Arnold Palmer for a share of the lead after 2 rounds of the $150,000 Marlborough Classic Seniors Tournament. First-round co-leader Sam Snead disqualified himself after signing an incorrect scorecard. Snead, who had turned in a 74, gave himself a par 4 in the 15th hole instead of a bogey 5. Charlie Owens, a club pro from Tampa, Florida, and Billy Casper at 141. At even par 142, along with defending champion Bob Goldie, are Peter Thompson and Bill Johnson. The Watkins Glen Grand Prix Association announced Friday that no summer auto races will be held this year at the world-famous road racing circuit. The association's executive director, Malcolm Curry, blamed the cancellations on continuing financial and legal problems for the circuit in the Finger Lakes region of New York.
Bottom of the 8th inning, the Dodgers 11 and the Reds 1. And we'll pause for station identification. This is the Los Angeles Dodgers Radio Network.
And this is the American Forces Radio and Television Service.
In the 8th inning, Ken Landreaux having his first big game in quite a while. He has a single, a triple, and a home run. And Bob Shirley delivers, and the first one is strike 3. On deck is Ron Renicky, and then Joe Thomas. Strike 1 pitch on the way is a fly ball to right field. Householder is there, and that'll do it for Landreaux. So 1 out in the 8th inning. And Ron Renicky will be coming up. Renicky hitting 263. Ron will hit right-handed, of course, against Shirley. and his average of 263 is based primarily on his success as a left-handed batter. Right-handed, he's only hitting 150. The pitch to him, a little high, ball one. So the Dodgers snapping a 4-game losing streak. The 1-0 pitch to Renicky is grounded up along third. Right behind the bag is Landreaux to throw him out. 2 out in the 8th inning. And Gerald Thomas finishing up for Pedro Guerrero. Tonight, Sack went 1 for 4. Landreaux had a single, triple, and home run. Dusty Baker had 1 hit. He went 1 for 5. 1 for 4. Guerrero had a double and a couple of walks. Garvey 2 singles and the home run. Say is the only man without a hit, but he has a couple of RBIs on an infield out and a scoring fly ball. Scioscia has 1 hit. Russell had a base hit, and Belanger had 1. The pitch to Thomas missing, ball 1, 1-0. And Jerry Royce has a base hit. The 1-0 pitch on the way, and Darrell slices it to right field. Householder is there, so the Dodgers go quietly, and at the end of 8, Dodgers 11, Reds 1.
Final score in San Diego, the Padres have defeated Houston at final 6-2. They did it with 6 runs, 7 hits, and 3 errors, while the Astros had 2 runs, 6 hits, and no miscues. Lawler is the winner. He's now 6-1. Sutton a loser, 7-3. So except for the Atlanta-San Francisco game, all finals are in. That ball game after 6. It is Atlanta 5 and San Francisco 3. We'll check the standings in a few minutes and see how things look at the moment. And again, some of the other games played earlier. Jerry Martin's RBI single in the 12th inning gave the Kansas City Royals a 3-2 victory over the Seattle Mariners. In Milwaukee, Paul Molitor scored the go-ahead run on Kirk Gibson's wild throw in the 8th. It sparked the Milwaukee Brewers to an 8-6 victory over the Detroit Tigers. In the American League at Baltimore, Gary Renicky and Cal Ripken blasted first-inning homers back-to-back to help the Baltimore Orioles down the New York Yankees 9-4.
Well, we come to the 9th inning with the Dodgers leading the Reds 11-1. Jerry Royce tuning up, and of course he's retired 24 in a row, but he is shy of the perfecto because he gave up the leadoff double to Eddie Milner. He's got everybody after the double. He'll be pitching to Alex Trevino. Then we'll have a hitter for Bob Shirley. Larry Bittner is going to come out on deck, so Bittner will be hitting for Shirley. And then it'll be Ed Milner. Trevino has grounded to short and fouled out to right. Right-hand hitting catcher, 0 for 2, waves at a fastball, and the count 0-1. Royce with 6 strikeouts tonight and has not walked a batter. Jerry into the windup, now the strike 1 pitch, and that's popped in the air. Sack's going out to get it, calling that he has it, and he's true to his word. 25 in a row retired by Jerry Royce. Now Larry Bittner will be coming up to bat for Bob Shirley.
For Cincinnati, batting for Shirley, number 33, Larry Bittner.
Bittner is the third pinch hitter used by John McNamara. He's hitting .308. He has 2 home runs, 10 RBIs, veteran left-hand batter. Krenjicki struck out, Walker grounded out, and now here's Larry Bittner. So Royce with 1 out in the 9th inning and breezing 11-1. Jerry into the windup and delivers. Bittner takes a strike in the count 0-1. Larry has played with the Washington Senators, Texas Rangers, Montreal, the Cubs, and Cincinnati. He takes inside. Bittner will be 35. He's from Iowa. He's from Pocahontas, Iowa. The pitch to Bittner is low, ball 2, 2-1. Larry Bittner is the only free agent ever signed by the Reds through the re-entry draft system. And they got him after he left Chicago at the end of the 80 season. Bittner pitched in 1 game, 5 5 years ago for the Cubs. Swings, doesn't get it, 2-2. How'd he do? He worked an inning in the third. He walked one, struck out 3, gave up 5 hits, and was charged with 6 earned runs. The 2-2 pitch, strike 3 call. 26 in a row, retired by Royce. But again, we have to repeat in case there's some folks just picking up the game. Eddie Milner opened up the game with a double to left, and Royce has gotten everybody since. 26 consecutive batters. So Jerry trying for his second one-hitter of the year. And he gave up a double in the first inning in that game to Art Howe of Houston. Royce is high, 1 ball and no strikes. It would also be the 5th one-hitter in the league this year. Pitch outside. There would be 2 by Royce, then Knowles, Hooton, and Eichelberger. And it would be the second time this year the Reds have been one-hitted. Dickie Knowles of the Cubs did that back in April. Here's a 2-0 pitch, and Milner drives it deep down the right field line, foul and out of play. 2-1 to Ed Milner. Milner's had 2 4-hit games this year. He's doing pretty well, seeing limited service. And Royce comes to him 2-1, missed outside in high ball 3. Ironically, Milner didn't figure to play tonight. But Cesar Cedeno injured his hand last night, and he couldn't use it tonight. And then Milner got the hit. Ground ball to the right side. Sachs has it over to Garvey. 27 consecutive outs after the leadoff double. A magnificent one-hitter by Jerry Royce. We'll have the totals after this.
Okay, let's look at the standings now before we go back for the wrap-up. A real slaughter for the Dodgers over the Reds tonight, as you heard, 11-1. For Los Angeles, they go up to 28-31. Atlanta Braves are still winning their ball game. They lead the National League West, 2 games over San Diego, 8 over the Dodgers. And the last thing we have heard from San Francisco's Candlestick Park, middle of the 7th, that the Braves are winning over the Giants 5-3. San Diego, in the meantime, defeated Houston 6-2. Lalo the winner, Sutton the loser. So the Padres at the moment are 32-23, and they trail Atlanta by a game and a half in the Senior Circuit West. The Cardinals beat the Mets 7-3. They went into the evening's action leading in the East by 2.5 over the Philadelphia Phillies, who lost to Pittsburgh 1-0. So the Cards now have a 3.5 game lead over the Phillies. Montreal won 9-8, so they're tied for second with Philadelphia. Here's Jim Scully again.
The totals for the Dodgers, 11 runs, 13 hits. The Reds, 1 run, 1 hit. That was the leadoff double by Milner, and then Royce retired 27 consecutive batters. Royce naturally the winner, and Frank Pastore the loser. Tomorrow night at 7:05, Bob Welch and Greg Harris. Once again, the final score, Dodgers 11, Reds 1. Now for Jerry Doggett and Ross Porter, this is Vin Scully inviting you to stay tuned for the post-game show coming right up.
Let's check on some other news in sports before we wrap things up. Before we do that, details of the Montreal game. Jim Raines cracked a 2-run double in the 8th inning to give Montreal a 9-8 victory over Chicago, extending the Cubs' losing streak to 11 games. Keith Moreland's 3-run homer had highlighted a 5-run top of the 8th inning that put the Cubs in front 8-7. With the bases loaded, Raines doubled off the loser, Bill Campbell, scoring 2 runs. Woody Fryman, the victim of Moreland's homer, was the winner. Jeff Reardon got the save. In tennis news, top-seeded Jose Luis Clerc of Argentina led the way into the semifinals of the City of Venice tennis tournament Friday for the 6-3, 7-5 win over countryman Alejandro Zanzabel. 2 Americans, Tender Murphy and Jim Brown, also won to make the Final Four. Again, Larry Holmes has defended his WBC crown. He has won the 13th round. They stopped the fight. Larry Holmes shattered the mystique of top-ranked contender Jerry Cooney by successfully defending his World Boxing Council heavyweight title at Las Vegas, a 13th round technical knockout over the previously unbeaten challenger. Women's tennis from Birmingham, England. American Billie Jean King has reached the semifinal of the Grand Prix tournament there. She defeated Leslie Allen
7-3 and 7-6. This broadcast was authorized under rights granted by the Cincinnati Reds and LA Dodgers, was intended solely for the entertainment of the AFRTS listening audience. Any publication, rebroadcast, or other use of the descriptions and accounts of this game without the express written permission of the Reds and Dodgers is prohibited. And our thanks to Dodger broadcasters Vin Scully, Jerry Doggett, and Ross Porter, the description of the game from Dodger Stadium. Once again, the Los Angeles Dodgers beat the Cincinnati Reds by a score of 11-1, a one-hitter for Jerry Royce, a leadoff hit by Cincinnati. Now, this is Dallas Burnett speaking on behalf of our audio technician, Jeff Valdez, and this is the American Forces Radio and Television Service.